But the house came with a sinister threat, a watcher who sent the family several menacing letters, alluding to imminent danger.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the most peculiar discoveries and events that still puzzle people to this day.
Fortunately, the rescue UFO crashed over the harsh taiga landscape. The Dropa still hope one day their people will make an Earth-proof spacecraft.
Number 50. The Roman dodecahedrons. Various locations. Normally, archaeological discoveries help us understand those who came before us. However, there are some that create more questions than answers. For centuries, bizarre 12-sided metallic objects have been uncovered throughout Europe.
Roman dodecahedrons have been found all over Europe, and nobody knows for sure how they were made.
Experts have dated them back to ancient times. Beyond that, little about them has been confirmed. With no distinctive markings or signs of use, their purpose and apparent widespread popularity is still debated.
And it's still quite a puzzle and a mystery to historians what function they actually served.
Some have theorized they were used in battle, while others have suggested they were made for regular work, like knitting and farming. Some even speculate they were another version of the cup and ball game. With the most recent being found in 2023, there's no telling how many more are waiting to be revealed, or when their secrets will finally be unlocked.
They remain a fascinating enigma.
Number 49. The Antikythera mechanism. Antikythera, Greece. It may seem that advanced technology is limited to modern times, yet a revelation made in 1901 could disprove that entirely.
This corroded bronze object is a machine that can look into the future.
The Antikythera mechanism dates back to the Hellenistic period and has intricate components that suggest it could be the oldest surviving computer in history. What exactly it computed is still unknown.
Much later, the Antikythera mechanism, to the amazement of scientists, would be revealed as the world's first computer.
Some have surmised that it was used in astronomical tracking, yet there are others who've pointed out its potential utility in counting days between athletic competitions. Besides its function, many are stumped as to how something so complex was built. It implies that those living in ancient Greece understood technology far more than we once thought. Should that be true, it could unravel everything we once understood about mechanics and the past itself.
It's a bit frightening to know that just before the fall of their great civilization, the ancient Greeks had come so close to our own age.
Number 48. Spontaneous human combustion. Various locations. It's a fate so extreme that it seems it could only occur in movies. Yet there have been several real, tragic cases of supposed spontaneous human combustion that suggest it may not be so fictitious after all.
All of a sudden,
it's an unexplainable phenomenon where a person catches flame seemingly out of nowhere, only leaving behind partial remains. Despite hundreds of cases, it's unclear how it occurs, or if it exists at all. Some believe the fire started internally and were exacerbated by factors like stress and blood alcohol levels, while others attribute them to paranormal activity.
All the mysteries surrounding Helen Conway's death seem to lead us back to one question. How did the fire start?
Many scientists disagree entirely and claim they were caused by unidentified outside sources. Though it seems improbable, the known cases are so bizarre that it can't be ruled out entirely.
This burned from the inside out, and he said, I've never, ever seen anything like this.
Number 47. The Utah Monolith. Utah, the United States of America. Not every unexplained discovery is ancient in nature.
What the heck is that?
It's just wild.
There are some that were made more recently and have created just as many questions as their older counterparts. In 2020, a prism made entirely of metal was found within a sandstone canyon in Utah. Despite being nearly 10 feet tall, it had gone unnoticed for 4 years.
They eventually figure out that it has been there for 4 to 5 years.
To this day, no one knows who built it or why. It was automatically assumed to be an art piece, but no one has ever come forward to claim the work. Just after it had been revealed, it was removed by an environmentalist group worried about its impact on the area. They've since gifted it to the Bureau of Land Management, where the mystery may finally be solved.
But the biggest mystery is still unknown. Who put it up in the first place?
Number 46. The Yonaguni Monument, Okinawa, Japan. Many have heard tales of cities that sank underwater, such as Atlantis. Though those are fictional, there's a real deep-sea structure that some believe could prove their existence. Since its discovery in 1986, the Yonaguni Monument has been the source of heated debate.
The main structure is over 500 feet long, almost the length of 2 football fields.
With immense rock formations that appear to take on the shape of buildings and stairs, it's easy to see how one could think they're human-made. Marine geologist Masaki Kimura insists upon this, even stating that he identified specific buildings. Other experts disagree and instead posit that it had formed naturally and been moved into position by underwater earthquakes. Though the cards are stacked against Kimura, no hard proof has been presented by either side, meaning there is a chance he could be right.
If these stone structures were in fact created by humans, then they would have had to have been carved when the monument was above water.
Number 45, the Nazca Lines, the Nazca Desert, Peru.
They lie neglected for more than 1,000 years and aren't rediscovered until the era of the airplane.
There have been several discoveries to reveal the complexities of ancient cultures, but some add to their mystique. From the ground, the Nazca Lines don't seem like much. See them from above, however, and you see the intricate line work taking on the shape of everything from plants to mammals.
There are spirals, zigzags. There are drawings of birds, spiders, monkeys, immense in scale.
It's unclear why they were created to be viewed in such a way. One of the most infamous theories is that they were landing spots for alien spacecraft. Some even claim they were made by extraterrestrial visitors themselves. Historians have suggested that they were marked irrigation sites. Others still have posited that they relate to cosmology, whether it was to observe or recreate constellations. The ideas are unending, and to this day, none has been confirmed.
The lines and shapes cover an area that stretches for hundreds of square miles.
Number 44, the Isdal Woman, Isdal in Norway. On a seemingly normal, chilly day in 1970, a family made a discovery that has continued to perplex people for decades. They'd come across the charred remains of a woman. Any identifying features had been burned away, and the possessions she had left behind left no clues.
Det jo et stort mysterium. Vi vet ikke.
The mystery of the Isdal woman doesn't end with her body being found. Days later, they came across her luggage. Among the items was currency from various countries and 8 passports with fake names. These findings have led to a prevailing theory that she was a spy whose work may have gone awry. More details have been uncovered in recent years, but none that have confirmed who she was or why she suffered such a tragic fate.
46 år senere Isdalskvinnen fortsatt en gåte.
Number 43, the death of Elisa Lam, California, the United States of America. When she traveled to California in 2013, no one could have suspected that she would never return. In February of that year, Elisa Lam's body was found in a water tank at the hotel she'd been staying at. This alone created questions, including how she accessed the tanks. A video published days later ignited new interest.
30 seconds later, the door closes, and she's never seen again.
It showed Lam standing in the elevator and appearing to look for someone or something in the hallway outside, even stepping outside to do so.
Do you believe she's interacting with another person? I don't know.
Several theories were brought to light, from her being pursued to her suffering an episode of psychosis. The clip being edited prior to release only added to the speculation. Both it and whether her death was self-inflicted or not are still discussed today.
It says if guests stay, quote, you do so at your own risk and peril.
Number 42, the MV Hoita, the South Pacific Ocean. There have been many mysterious shipwrecks throughout history. Few are as peculiar as the fate of the MV Hoita. It was relined with cork in 1948, leaving it unsinkable. In 1955, it set sail on its final voyage.
A doctor, a pharmacist, and a new district officer were among those making the 2-day voyage to the Tokelau's.
What was supposed to be a short trip ended with the ship and everyone aboard going missing. 5 weeks later, it was found drifting 600 miles from its route. No one was aboard, but everything had been removed, suggesting they had departed despite the hull being intact. Historians still don't understand why. Their theories range from mutiny to insurance fraud, but none has been proven. As of 2012, they're still considered missing, and both they and their reasons seem to have been lost to the depths for good.
The ghost ship Joita, her disappearance, and subsequent events continue to disturb and baffle.
Number 41, the lost colony of Greenland. Greenland. History has proven that few things are truly constant, even communities that appear to be thriving. After establishing themselves in Greenland in 986, the arriving Norse citizens formed a successful colony that remained intact for half a millennia.
About 1,000 years ago, the Vikings, Norsemen from Scandinavia, established a colony in Greenland.
It was then that those living in the area seemingly vanished, leaving those who discovered it afterwards to speculate they had been slain by a conqueror. Centuries later, little is still understood about their sudden disappearance from the area.
The colony in Greenland disappears from history in about the year 1500. Nobody knows exactly why or exactly when this happened. It's one of the great unsolved mysteries of the Middle Ages.
Various theories have been presented, ranging from strife with the indigenous population to natural factors like the Little Ice Age and the Black Plague forcing them to leave for their own safety. Nothing has been confirmed as the ultimate cause, leaving their fate a question that remains unsolved.
What happened to the last ones? And the clear answer to this question is we don't know.
Number 40. The Watcher of Westfield, New Jersey. New Jersey, the United States of America. A suburban neighborhood is the last place you might expect a mystery. Yet in 2014, the Broaddus family was subjected to unwanted attention from an anonymous person simply known as the Watcher of Westfield, New Jersey. They received several letters once they bought it, warning them that their family had been watching the house for generations and mentioning details about the buyer's children.
Whoever it was claimed that they were not only watching the house, but there was a lineage in their family.
The messages became more unhinged, leaving the Broadduses too terrified to complete their move there.
There was really no way the Broadduses were going to move into this house without figuring out what was going on.
It eventually became so threatening that they resold the house without ever having lived a day inside of it. To this day, the Watcher has never been identified despite an investigation being conducted, but the people who moved in afterwards have seemingly escaped the same fate.
Now, 5 years later, the family's selling the property that they've never lived in, that has haunted them for years, taking a loss, selling it for $400,000 less than they paid for it.
Number 39. The Disappearance of Jimmy Hoffa, Michigan, the United States of America. Throughout the mid-20th century, he rose through the ranks of the Teamsters Union and became one of its most influential figures. That power resulted in him making powerful enemies, resulting in his sudden disappearance in 1975.
He was often called the most powerful man in America, and his disappearance remains one of this century's greatest unsolved mysteries.
An investigation was carried out, but he was never seen again. The details, including who did it and where his body was disposed of, remain unsolved decades later. Many have been accused or taken credit for the crime, but nothing has been confirmed.
Hoffa is now sailing on a beautiful vessel off the Greek Isles, laughing at us all.
As for his final resting place, there are rumors of it being everywhere from Giant Stadium in New Jersey to beneath a driveway in suburban Detroit. What happened has become one of America's best-kept secrets, and it seems it may never be revealed.
They are hoping to find the remains of Jimmy Hoffa out here.
Number 38. The Hinterkaifeck Murders, Bavaria, Germany. Taking another person's life is awful enough. Living beside them afterwards is even more unsettling. That was the fate suffered by the Gruber family in 1922, in an event now referred to as Hinterkaifeck. Days beforehand, tracks from the woods to the farm had appeared, and the family had heard sounds coming from their attic. By then, it was already too late. On March 31st, they were all slain by an intruder. Their bodies were found days later, along with evidence that their murderer had lived there for some time before fleeing. Suspects were named, but with no motive and a shaky timeline, no one was convicted. The farm was razed shortly afterward, and with it went any potential clues that may have solved it. Number 37. The Voynich Manuscript, unknown. There are several historical texts that still haven't been fully translated. Few are as bizarre and unreadable as the Voynich Manuscript.
In this tangle of text and images, an expert's eye can easily get lost.
It consists of eye-catching illustrations and text written in both Latin and an unidentified language. The latter in particular has made it impossible to parse, leaving the exact contents up to interpretation. Why it was created and who wrote it is still debated.
It's the world's most mysterious book, written by an unknown author.
However, the true mystery lies within its pages, with some theorizing it was written in code, and some guessing it was written in a tongue invented by the author themselves. Though several people have claimed to decipher it, they were found to be fraudulent, meaning the secrets held by it still aren't understood today.
For the time being, the Voynich Manuscript remains what it has been for the last 600 years.
It's a hall of mirrors reflecting each researcher's own imagination.
Number 36, the Roswell Incident, New Mexico, the United States of America. Could one of the most infamous American incidents have some truth to it? Depending who you ask about the Roswell Incident, that answer would be yes. In 1947, New Mexico was rocked when an unidentified flying object crashed to the ground and was destroyed on impact.
The Roswell Army Airfield puts out a press release saying that they have found pieces of a flying saucer.
It was initially reported to be a flying disc, which was quickly redacted by the military and re-identified as a weather balloon.
It was all a mistake. It was all a overreaction. It's nothing more than a very standard weather balloon with a radar reflector kite.
The conspiracy theories skyrocketed immediately afterward, and they only became worse decades later after former officer Jesse Marcel claimed it had been of extraterrestrial origin. That cemented the Slim theory in some people's minds. Many of the documents pertaining to the case are still classified, but the legacy it has created still lives on today.
We have credible witnesses who have seen things that are difficult to explain and make it hard for the theory of the weather balloon to really hold up.
Number 35, the disappearance of Frederick Valentich, the Bass Strait. Black box recordings don't get much more unsettling than this. In 1978, an aspiring pilot who had taken an unauthorized flight went missing without a trace. Frederick Valentich had reportedly been an ardent believer in alien life, making his disappearance all the more chilling. He'd been flying over the Bass Strait when he reported a faulty engine and another aircraft flying above him.
He asked the Melbourne Tower if there were any aircraft in his vicinity because he had said there was another object about 1,000 feet higher than him.
It sounded normal, until he added that the other craft wasn't a plane. That was the last thing he said before a horrifying noise was heard, cutting him off permanently.
Frederick Valentich has been missing now for 46 years, and yet we are still talking about him.
Some assumed he had been abducted, while detractors claim he had become disoriented and even flew upside down before crashing. His body and craft have never been discovered, leaving his fate up to the imagination.
What was the strange, metallic object Frederick Valentich reported in real time? We may never know for sure.
Number 34, the disappearance of Flight 19, the Bermuda Triangle. Solo pilots aren't the only ones in danger of going missing mid-flight. Even those flying in a group are left to the whims of the world around them, sometimes resulting in tragedy.
Their disappearance became the linchpin of a modern legend of the supernatural.
During a standard training flight in 1945, Lieutenant Charles C. Taylor and the trainees he'd been with got lost while traveling over Florida. He remained in sparse contact with air control, reporting that if one of them lost enough fuel, they would all go down with it.
By 8 p.m., the other 4 planes had disappeared beneath the waves. The legend of Flight 19 had begun.
Afterwards, communication was lost for good, and a search was immediately launched. They found evidence of an explosion, but no bodies or aircraft were nearby. Since that fateful night, their final resting place remains a mystery that no one has been able to solve.
No matter what the explanation, the 14 men of Flight 19 deserve to be honored, not as victims of the supernatural, but as brave men who died in the service of their country.
Number 33, Escape from Alcatraz, San Francisco, the United States of America. You'd think a prison placed on an island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean would be enough to deter escape attempts. However, the call for freedom was too tempting for Frank Morris and brothers John and Clarence Anglin, leading them to flee Alcatraz in 1962.
All 3 prisoners have vanished from their cells, with 3 lifelike papier-mâché heads left behind.
Once they cleared the walls of the prison and the fences surrounding it, they used a hastily built raft and sailed away. What happened to them afterwards remains legend.
Sometime around 10 p.m., Frank Morris, John Anglin, and his brother Clarence launched their makeshift raft into the treacherous waters of the San Francisco Bay, never to be seen again.
Some believe they drowned immediately, while those more optimistic think they successfully reached an island nearby. Neither they nor their remains have been found, though a letter reportedly written by John Anglin claimed they all survived the escape. The source isn't certain, however, leaving their fates up to interpretation.
It's still one of the great mysteries of the 20th century, and everybody gloms onto it because they love when an underdog wins.
Number 32, the disappearance of the Sodder children, West Virginia, the United States of America. The resilience of a grieving family cannot be understated.
Kids are celebrating Christmas Eve.
They're allowed to stay up well past their bedtime. Unbeknownst to them, all of their lives are going to change within a matter of hours.
When a fire claimed the home of the Sauter family in 1945, they had no idea that their troubles were only just beginning. That night, only the parents and 4 children had survived, and authorities determined the others had perished.
Within minutes, George, Jenny, and 4 of their children run outside.
However, Jenny Sauter questioned that theory and soon began to speculate that they had simply disappeared. They publicized their search, putting up billboards and offering rewards in exchange for helpful information. By the 1960s, no answers had been found, but they did receive a letter with a photo of a man claiming to be their son. Their efforts have continued into the 21st century, but not even the internet has been powerful enough to find them.
They didn't find any traces of these bodies. No bones, not even a piece of a tooth.
Number 31, the Tunguska event, Yeniseisk Governorate, Russia. One morning in June of 1908, anyone living near Yeniseisk Governorate was awoken not by the sound of birds, but with a massive explosion. The immediate effects were harsh, with several trees toppling over and 3 people reportedly passing away.
In 1 hour, the explosion and the great fire that followed destroy a region of forest the size of Greater London.
Despite how large it was, there was no impact site upon investigation. This was later credited to a smaller asteroid that had combusted while in the air. Though it may seem resolved, there are still some who have opposing ideas.
The Tunguska disaster changed our view of the world and our place in the cosmos.
One suggests that the blast came from within the Earth rather than above it, which would also explain the lack of a crater. With there being no way to know the exact events leading up to the blast, the exact cause may never be found.
Of course, my favorite theory is the one about a spaceship from another planet. They wanted to visit us and have a picnic here. Then there was an accident and the spacecraft exploded.
Number 30, the Overtoun Bridge, West Dumbartonshire, Scotland. Dog lovers may want to brace themselves. Upon first glance, there isn't anything outwardly unsettling about Overtoun Bridge. Yet, the Scottish structure has been the cause of several beloved pets' demise.
So tell me about what happened when you walked Hendrix over the bridge.
In the 1950s, dogs began leaping off the side for seemingly no reason. One moment they would be walking obediently with their owners, and the next they would be gone. This would even occur in well-behaved canines.
Was Hendrix prone to jumping?
No.
No?
No.
It's completely random.
Aye.
One dog specialist theorized that the scent of mink urine in the area could be driving them to jump. However, the presence of mink in the area is questioned. To this day, the phenomenon remains unsolved. So if you have to take your pooch across, we recommend keeping them on a tighter leash than usual. Number 29, the Crooked Forest, West Pomerania, Poland. Trees are fairly standard beings, with most growing from roots below ground. Yet the Crooked Forest in Poland appears to deviate from that norm entirely. Around 1930, a new grove of pines was added. Rather than stand up straight, they curved at the base, appearing to sit atop the dirt.
The trees are all the same age, and they all bend north.
Researchers are fairly certain human interaction was the cause, but why this shape was desired or how it was achieved still evades them. One of the leading theories is that they were grown that way to make carpentry easier, but even that has remained unproven.
That particular theory maintains that the trees were shaped before 1930, but were abandoned before they could be harvested with the outbreak of World War II.
The forest is available to visit, giving people from all over the world a chance to puzzle over the anomaly for themselves. Number 28, the Paracas Candelabra, Paracas Peninsula, Peru. Archaeologists are used to having to come up with explanations for the things they find, but not everything comes with a set background. Some finds are simply too bizarre to understand easily, such as the Paracas Candelabra in Peru. Coming in at over 600 feet tall, the odd candelabra-shaped geoglyph has no established meaning or explanation for its existence. The only clue offering any sort of information was a collection of pottery found nearby, allowing experts to date the landmark as far back as 200 BCE. How or why the civilization at the time went about constructing it has remained elusive, making this one of the longest unsolved mysteries in human history. Number 27, the Patomskiy Crater, Patom Highlands, Russia. Despite the huge size of the Patomskiy Crater, how it came to be has eluded even the brightest experts.
Though now it's more famous as the Patomskiy Crater. Locals had dubbed it Fire Eagle Nest.
probably because it looks like a giant bird nest sitting on a hill.
Located in the thickest of dense forestation, the formation stands at well over 500 feet tall, causing it to stick out like a sore thumb among the trees. Many of the current estimates are based on some level of scientific reasoning, from past volcanic activity to the landing spot of a fallen meteorite.
They believe that the space rock entered the Earth's atmosphere at incredible speeds, but had been slowed down quite a bit by the time it struck the surface.
A conference was even held in 2010 in order to find out the truth, and even that collection of impressive thinkers couldn't come to a definitive conclusion. Now it serves as verification that some answers may just always be outside our reach. Number 26. The Oak Island Money Pit, Nova Scotia, Canada. An island in Nova Scotia offers adventurers the chance to go on a real-life treasure hunt themselves, if they dare.
So the hope is that once we get down 50, 60 feet, we'll be able to drill horizontally, vertically.
Yep. For centuries, people have tried locating the supposed riches buried on Oak Island. What they're looking for has never been confirmed, with rumors ranging from the Holy Grail to pirate's gold.
Since the team has already obtained evidence of both silver and gold in this area, could they be close to finally locating the so-called Chapel Vault?
Those who've attempted to find it have never succeeded, thanks to things like sinkholes and a deadly curse that is claimed to have taken the lives of several men. With no verifiable evidence, some have wondered if the treasure even exists, or if it's simply just a hole.
If you tried to do a probability window, say, about the various theories, they all fit. They pretty much do.
If it's the latter, it'll have been the biggest goose chase in history. But for now, the mystery lives on. Number 25. The Lost Colony of Roanoke, North Carolina, United States of America. There are some occurrences we've only begun to question recently, but some have been puzzled over for centuries.
Today, the Outer Banks of North Carolina are an inviting tourist destination. But 400 years ago, they were quite the opposite.
The establishment of Roanoke was meant to be a symbol of new life in America. When John White returned to the colony from a supply run in 1590, he could have never anticipated what would await him. Nothing.
His daughter and granddaughter are missing. In fact, there are no people and no houses. What remains is the wooden palisade that they built, and of course, the CRO carving that was found. What could this cryptic message possibly mean?
Over 100 people disappeared, leaving behind no sign of life other than a cryptic message. There have been countless theories, both optimistic and pessimistic. Some believe the colonists were able to start anew among neighboring tribes, while others are adamant they were killed. There's even speculation that they left in order to make the founder look bad. With no answer in sight, it remains one of the country's oldest enigmas. Number 24. The Hessdalen Lights, Hessdalen Valley, Norway. Reports of strange lights are nothing new. For years, people have used them as evidence of the existence of aliens, as is the case with these which have appeared in Norway.
I was standing out in the mountain together with some friends, and we saw this huge light in the mountainside, and then I knew there was a real phenomenon.
They were first observed during the 1930s and have varied in both color and speed. This has made their origin hard to pin down, leading to observers creating ideas of their own.
When you have studied so much and you haven't found any answer which lies inside ordinary known physics, it must be something new.
Besides the usual claims of extraterrestrial beings, some scientists have posited more logical explanations, such as the explosion of airborne particles or the result of electricity coming from quartz in the nearby valley. Despite decades of research, no definitive conclusions have been made, meaning there is a chance they could be proof of other intelligent life beyond our atmosphere.
We don't know yet. And that makes it pretty exciting.
Number 23. Plain of Jars, Seonghuang Plateau, Laos. Some phenomena are unexplainable due to human activities. The Plain of Jars is one of the planet's most elusive areas, but not for a lack of interest.
You're taking in this vista, this view of these megalithic jars. You knew that ancient man had built them.
It consists of thousands of stone receptacles, with some dating back to 660 BCE. Originally, it was believed that a lost civilization of giants placed them there. More recently, it's believed that they were used in ancient burials.
Now, another one that's out there is that giants once roamed the earth. and these were vessels that the giants constructed.
Unfortunately, it's impossible to truly verify, as it was targeted by United States forces during the Laotian Civil War. Over 250 million bombs were dropped, but 80 million never went off and remain active today. This makes it difficult to examine many areas of the Plain of Jars to find answers.
I really don't know why they were there, but I'm in awe. And as I said, it was a spiritual experience.
Number 22, Lead Masks Case, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Even the most dedicated true crime fans will be stumped by this event. With no known killer, motive, or even a cause of death, it's no wonder why the 1966 lead mask case immediately went cold.
But after decades, experts are still baffled by the cause of Miguel José Viana and Manuel Pereira da Cruz's deaths.
The two victims were discovered side by side, clad in suits and lead eye masks, alongside a set of bizarre instructions.
1630, be at the specified location. 1830, ingest capsules. After the effect, protect metals, await signal mask.
It didn't help that authorities waited weeks to perform an autopsy, leaving the organs too decomposed to properly study. While murder was the immediate assumption, the lack of struggle has led to more unique hypotheses, such as the pair attempting to communicate with aliens and accidentally dying. Whether it was by their own hand or someone else's, the details of their fate remain sought after to this day. Number 21, the Mary Celeste, Nova Scotia. Ships going missing or even being destroyed at sea is nothing new. However, the vessel being discovered with no sign of the crew is another story entirely.
You ever heard of a ship called the Mary Celeste?
The Mary Celeste was last seen leaving a port in November of 1872, with nothing appearing to be amiss. Just a month later, another ship came upon it and found that everyone aboard had vanished.
Nothing. No passengers, no crew, no captain, no sign of distress.
There were signs of previous struggles, including ripped sails and a missing lifeboat, but no signs of current life. There were several personal items left alone, indicating they hadn't been targeted by thieves. The remaining guesses range from insurance fraud to attacks from a giant squid. Unfortunately, false evidence has been published over the years, making the truth all the more unreachable.
Trying to understand why an experienced captain would do the one thing that really is unthinkable, which is to leave your vessel.
Number 20, the Hector Cloud. The Northern Territory of Australia experiences a very bizarre phenomenon every year between September and March. Around 3 every afternoon, a huge thundercloud forms near the Tiwi Islands. The cloud has been named Hector by the locals, or more colloquially, Hector the Convector. This cloud was once used by pilots and sailors, and it's now the subject of intense meteorological study. We understand that it's caused by sea breezes interacting with the topography of the islands, but much about the cloud is still unknown. Perhaps future research will unveil more details about old Hector the Convector. Number 19, the Green Children of Woolpit, Suffolk, England. With no hard proof, some events end up sounding more like fiction.
One year, during the harvest in the village of Woolpit in Suffolk, England, about 10 miles from Bury St Edmunds, reapers working near old wolf pits discovered 2 young children, a girl and a boy.
The mysterious case of 2 green-skinned children arriving in a small English town sounds like pure fantasy, but according to some records, it was an actual occurrence that stumped people even back then.
The children were eventually taken to the local bigwig, Sir Richard de Calne, who was equally baffled by them, though he took them into his household.
They'd arrived randomly, spoke another language, and ate nothing but raw beans. They slowly lost their vibrant pigment, and one even learned English. However, even that wasn't enough to learn the truth of their origins. While the most accepted explanation is that they were sick Flemish citizens, there isn't enough evidence, leading to fringe theories that they came from an unknown civilization.
Proponents assert that the children could have been English, but like many at the time, only spoke their village's unique dialect, some of which were unintelligible to outsiders.
Regardless, it remains one of the most bizarre instances in history, if it ever even happened at all. Number 18, the Kentucky Meat Shower. This sounds disgusting, and trust us, it is. Around 11 a.m. on March 3, 1876, small pieces of gristly meat began raining over Bath County, Kentucky.
You may have seen a meteor shower, but you've never seen a shower meatier than this.
Some people believed that it was divine intervention. Other people actually tasted it to see what kind of meat it was. Samples of the meat were sent to the Newark Scientific Association, which concluded that it was lung tissue. The people who didn't blame God attributed the event to vultures, who are prone to vomit their food when escaping from predators. It's likely that a kettle of vultures got spooked, took flight, and puked partially chewed meat all over the county. But no one really knows for sure. Number 17. The Flannan Isles Lighthouse Mystery.
I think it's reasonable to assume that they must have seen something floating in the water and went to salvage it and got caught in the process.
Found off the west coast of Scotland is the Flannan Isles Lighthouse, which saw a very creepy disappearance in December of 1900. A passing steamer called Arctur noticed that the light wasn't on, and they reported this to the Northern Lighthouse Board. A relief vessel went to the island and found the 3 lighthouse keepers missing. They also saw extensive damage indicating that a strong storm had passed through the area. The initial investigation revealed that the men had been swept off the island by a giant swell.
The Flannan Isles light had just been established a few months before the disappearance of the 3 keepers. And it may be that the keepers were not entirely familiar with the local conditions.
This has remained the primary explanation, but the case is still being extensively researched, and different theories are continuously put forward. Number 16. The body of Xin Zhui.
A body reported to be unlike any other ancient body ever found.
In 1968, diggers were working in the Chinese city of Changsha when they stumbled upon the tomb of Xin Zhui. She was a noblewoman who died in either 169 or 168 BCE. What makes this find so startling is the remarkable condition of Xin Zhui's mummy. Her muscles, skin, hair, and organs were very well preserved. And she even had a small amount of blood still in her veins.
2,000-year-old woman, so well preserved, Peng and his colleagues could dissect her like a modern corpse.
Experts believe that the deep underground setting and coffin type ensured the preservation of the body, but some questions still remain. For example, they don't know why this particular body was so well preserved when not many others have been found under similar circumstances. Number 15. The Pollock Sisters. If there's one convincing case of reincarnation, it's the Pollock Sisters. The Pollocks were walking to church when they were struck by a car and killed in May of 1957. 17 months later, their mother Florence Pollock gave birth to identical twin girls. The parents immediately noticed similarities to their deceased daughters, like identical scars and birthmarks. The girls also shared eerily similar personality traits and interests. And despite moving away from the area at 9 months old, they both knew their way around when they returned for a visit 4 years later. Some see this as a genuine case of reincarnation. Others believe it's mere coincidence inflated by grieving parents desperate to make connections. What about you? Number 14. The disappearance of Amelia Earhart.
She was one of the most famous people in the world. People hung on her every word and followed her activities.
There's a very good chance that Amelia Earhart crashed into the ocean. However, no one can make a definitive claim, as nothing has been proven either way. Earhart was an incredibly famous pilot in her day, being the first female to cross the Atlantic and writing numerous books. Earhart was attempting to fly around the globe in 1937 when she disappeared near Howland Island in the Pacific Ocean.
They know from the signal strength that she is coming, but they can't see her, and she can't find the island. It was a headline story for quite a while, and then gradually it died down.
Most people believe that she simply ran out of fuel and crashed, but no evidence of her plane has ever been found. Another popular theory suggests that Earhart crashed near or landed on Gardner Island in Kiribati, but again, there's no hard evidence to suggest this. All we have is speculation. Number 13. The Circleville Letters. In 1977, residents of Circleville, Ohio began receiving threatening and harassing anonymous letters.
We're not talking about a couple or hundreds, but thousands of letters. They all had the same block lettering, and they would target politicians and leaders, but also just plain folks who had nothing to do with the running of Circleville at all.
The letters had very distinctive handwriting and contained accusations of embezzlement, affairs, and even murders. Ron Gillespie died under mysterious circumstances after receiving a phone call and announcing that he was going to confront the writer.
Was Ron Gillespie's death an accident? Was he really drunk that night? And why had one bullet been fired from his handgun?
His wife was nearly killed by a gun in a booby trap attached to a sign. It turned out that Paul Freshour, Ron's brother-in-law, bought the gun, and his handwriting was deemed to match the letters.
You know, I can't blame the jury because the jury didn't hear all the evidence. But I just couldn't believe it. I was really in shock.
Yet during his time in prison, people in town continued receiving them, even while Freshour was in solitary confinement. If Freshour was the writer, he wasn't working alone. We are writing this off as an unsolved mystery.
4 decades later, the debate over the writer's identity continues.
Number 12, Havana Syndrome.
Doctors said that Diplomat's brain matter had actually changed. What started out as a mysterious nuisance became a suspected instrument of attack.
Since 2016, U.S. officials and military personnel have been experiencing strange symptoms. These include pain, ringing in the ears, as well as difficulty with cognitive processes.
A source says starting last December, the U.S. officials were exposed to a sonic device, which experts suggest could produce sound waves below and above human hearing, which could cause these symptoms.
Named for the location it was initially reported, the embassy in Havana, Cuba, Havana Syndrome has since been reported at U.S. bases and embassies in various countries. While some of those suffering from it have existing head injuries that could explain the symptoms, not all of them do.
The recording is just one of the many sounds taken in Cuba that led investigators to initially believe it was a sonic weapon.
Proposed explanations have included a psychogenic illness, the sound of crickets, or even a microwave weapon. While the CIA has concluded that most cases were probably not caused by a foreign power, 24 cases remain unexplained. Accidental or targeted, Havana Syndrome is yet to be fully understood.
Who or what caused it? A mystery.
The United States government is still not sure who or what is responsible for those health attacks.
Number 11, the Max Headroom hijackings. On November 22nd in 1987, the broadcast of 2 Chicago TV stations was interrupted. Both interruptions featured an unidentified man dressed as the British AI character Max Headroom.
Reporters finally did.
The masked man disparaged the local station he was interrupting, made several pop culture references, and got spanked by a fly swatter. The heavily distorted audio, rotating background, and masked man gave the hijackings an eerie, almost David Lynchian feel.
My brother is wearing the other one, but it's dirty. That's what you got put my time.
The hijackers couldn't be identified, nor did they come forward after the statute of limitations on their crime expired. These broadcasts seem destined to remain as mystifying as their contents.
Takes some pretty significant equipment, technical equipment, and some knowledge of broadcast frequencies, microwave frequencies.
Number 10, Salish Sea feet. Since 2007, residents of Washington, USA and British Columbia, Canada have found some rather morbid jetsam washed up on their beaches. Detached human feet. Most of them were found still inside shoes.
Now you also have to consider whether or not this could be a serial killer, somebody who right now is underneath the radar.
But physical anthropologists caution that while the spate of discoveries was new and startling, public awareness could have prompted people to pay attention to stray running shoes.
Foul play has been ruled out, as most of the identified victims were involved in accidents or took their own lives. It's been speculated that the feet detached as the bodies decayed, and that the air pockets and buoyant foam in sneakers floated them to the surface.
Too many unanswered questions remain. Who do the feet belong to? Why are they always in running shoes? Could something truly insidious be at play in the region?
But it still seems extremely odd that there have been so many, and all around the same area.
There are still far more questions than answers. Are these cases connected? How did the people die? And how many more feet are out there still to be found?
Number 9. The Hum.
It's an unsolved mystery, keeping this neighborhood awake at night.
It sounds like 50 trucks starting up when it's very loud.
This is kind of like the Havana Syndrome, only far more widespread and involving people not related to the American government. reports of a general humming or rumbling noise have been made all across the world, including Windsor, Ontario, Canada, and Taos, New Mexico, both of which have their own specially named hums.
It's like a very low, almost like a vibration. You think you hear it, but it could be your mind playing tricks on you.
While this sounds enormously irritating, help has been rare to non-existent. No one knows what's causing the humming, with different areas reporting their own possible causes. For example, the Windsor hum reportedly ended in 2020 when the blast furnaces of a local plant were deactivated. Others have blamed the likes of tinnitus, animals, and jet streams. Number 8. The Dancing Plague. The medieval period was a scary time, full of misery and poverty. These issues may have led to the Dancing Plague. The curious mania affected Europe throughout much of this period, spanning from the 14th to the 17th century. People would take to the streets and dance until they hurt themselves or collapsed from exhaustion.
Some sources claim that, for at least some portion of the outbreak, as many as 15 people were dying a day. And if it's not already obvious, the dancers weren't having fun.
Sometimes good-intentioned musicians would accompany the dancers, believing that their sounds would cure the affliction.
The plan was a disaster. Rather than tire out the dancers, the music and the stage only encouraged more people to join in.
It was the best that anyone could do, because no one knew how to treat it. Even to this day, the incident is poorly understood. Some attribute it to the general stress of living in medieval Europe, others to ergot poisoning and religious cults. Number 7. The Black Dahlia. Los Angeles, California, United States of America. The solutions to some crimes that have been investigated for decades, such as the murder of Elizabeth Short, are still just as elusive as they were when they first began.
This is Los Angeles' most notorious unsolved murder.
The aspiring actress who became known as the Black Dahlia met her brutal fate in 1947, and since then, authorities have not come any closer to finding the killer. Besides the untrue details about Short herself that circulated throughout the media, over 500 people have confessed, some of whom were born after the crime took place.
The killer even wrote letters taunting the police and also sent Elizabeth Short's personal address book to a local newspaper.
Celebrities and normal people alike have been named as potential perpetrators, with each lead eventually ending in a dead end. Despite the lack of results, many still are interested in finally giving her justice.
This case, this investigation has been described as a riddle wrapped in a mystery inside an enigma, and I can't think of a more perfect description than that.
Number 6. Tromp family breakdown. No, Tromp with an O. In 2016, Mark and Jacoba Tromp took their 3 adult children on an impromptu road trip hundreds of miles north, leaving their house unlocked. Mark seemed convinced that people were out to get them and forbade phones. Their son Mitchell brought one anyway, but it was later thrown out the car window. He left, not understanding his parents' paranoia. Later, the daughters left too, stealing a car before splitting up. One, Rihanna, was found in a catatonic state. Ultimately, all returned safely, but no explanation has been given specifically for what happened. Whether it was shared psychosis or someone was out to get the Tromps, the case has fascinated the world ever since.
I thought at first that Trump had gone missing. I saw that when Trump's gone missing. I went, well, there you go. Speaking of delusion.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
Number 5. The Oakville Blobs. In 1994, Oakville, Washington experienced perhaps the strangest weather phenomenon of the last few decades. It rained blobs. Strange goo fell from the sky over a period of several weeks, blanketing the town in ooze.
And it made people sick.
I got sick, my wife got sick, my daughter.
What's even more bizarre is that the residents experienced a widespread illness that lasted for several weeks too. So what could this goo have been?
Someone theorized that since the Navy had been conducting live bombing runs at sea, they might have blown up a school of jellyfish. And of course, this jellyfish would have been thrown up into the air and floated 50 miles inland, and over a period of 3 weeks, fallen 6 times.
Was it evaporated bits of jellyfish that reformed in a cloud? Or maybe waste from an airplane? The most troubling theory is that the event was a military experiment on U.S. soil.
Translation: germ warfare.
There are a whole mess of theories about this messy and weird weather. Number 4. The WOW signal.
If we did discover an actual signal from an alien civilization, it would profoundly change human beings.
Despite some very extensive and incredibly expensive efforts, we have found no hard evidence of extraterrestrial life, at least not public evidence. But we do have the WOW signal. It was August 15, 1977, and a telescope at Ohio State University picked up a very bizarre radio wave. The telescope recorded the signal for a solid 72 seconds.
So imagine you're listening closely for something as quiet as a pin to drop. Bam, you hear something as loud as books slamming on a table. That's what happened.
A few days later, astronomer Jerry Eman was studying the data when he stumbled across the signal. He circled the series of letters and numbers in red ink and wrote a very enthusiastic wow beside it. Wow is right. To this day, no one knows what caused the signal, and despite significant effort, it has never been found again.
It is the best evidence we know of coming from some other civilization.
Number 3, D.B. Cooper. The story of D.B. Cooper has captured our collective imaginations for decades.
Well, he either got away or else he sure made a big hole in the ground up there.
On November 24, 1971, a man largely known as D.B. Cooper hijacked an airplane for the modern equivalent of $1.3 million. The plane landed in Seattle, and Cooper allowed the passengers to disembark. He then ordered that the empty aircraft be flown to Mexico City. But shortly after takeoff, Cooper opened the door and jumped out with his parachute. And with that, he disappeared from both the plane and history.
His identity is never uncovered, nor is his body. It's impossible.
Neither the man nor the money has ever been found, but a small portion was discovered on the Columbia River in 1980. It's likely that Cooper died in the jump, but we just don't know for sure. Number 2, the disappearance of Malaysian Airlines Flight 370.
Families waiting for MH370. They still wait, and really, they don't know much more than they did that first awful morning.
On March 8, 2014, Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 vanished while flying from Malaysia to China. After a loss of communications and its disappearance from civilian radar, Flight 370 reappeared on military radar, having deviated from its planned flight path.
Approaching the point at which Malaysian Air Traffic Control will hand over to Vietnam. Then, Captain Zahari makes a last routine, but now infamous radio transmission.
Good night. Good night, Malaysian 372.
The disappearance has fascinated the public for years and led to several expensive searches. It seemed impossible for an entire airplane to just go missing in an age where everything can be seen by satellites. Although a few pieces have washed ashore, the bulk of the aircraft and the reason for its deviation remain unclear.
What happened to the flight has haunted the world ever since.
We're not used to planes just disappearing. If they come down, we expect to be able to find out why.
Speculations have run the gamut from a hijacking to being shot down to some kind of equipment failure. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. The Dyatlov Pass Incident. In 1959, 9 Russian hikers were found dead in the Ural Mountains. All were severely injured, several were undressed, and they had cut their way out of their tent from the inside. Some were burned, and others slightly radioactive. Most seem to have died of hypothermia or their injuries. The case has baffled the public and authorities for over half a century. Theories include an avalanche, an animal attack, or military involvement.
This is the last photo taken by the hikers before they died. It's out of focus, but it seems to show mysterious lights in the sky.
The most plausible theory involves the group camping against a heavy snowbank, which collapsed, leading them to assume an avalanche and freezing after they escaped the tent. But unless there really was outside involvement, only the victims know the truth.
The evidence here is both extensive, yet maddeningly incomplete. And until we fill in the gaps, the case cannot be fully closed.
Do you have theories about any of these unusual events or discoveries? Let us know in the comments below.